Significance level, which is the alpha, is the maximum probability of rejecting a true null hypothesis. So in practice, significance level we use is 1%, 5%, and 10%. So these are the maximum probability of doing an error, which is rejecting a true null hypothesis. So by selecting the significance level, then you may get the critical value for the test statistic in order to determine the border for the rejection region and also the non-rejection region. Once we select the significance level or the alpha, it is important to note whether it is two-tailed test or one-tailed test. So if it is a two-tailed test, we must divide alpha with 2 or alpha over 2 because we have two tail. And if it is one-tailed test, we don't have to divide, we just use the stated or selected alpha. Test statistic is a value calculated from sample data and used to determine whether or not to reject the H null. So the test for this topic, the test statistic that we're going to use is either Z star or T star, corresponding to the standard normal distribution, which is the Z, and also T distribution, which is the T. Step 4 is find the critical value. So critical value is the dividing point between the rejection and non-rejection region for H null. So we need to find the critical value from the statistical table in order to determine the boundaries for reject and non-rejection region. And the rejection region is a range of values that if the test statistic falls in that range, H null is rejected, and it falls outside of the range, the H null is not rejected or do not reject H null. And the rejection region of the H null we stated as decision rule. Rejection region. So assume we are using alpha equals to 0.05 and we want to understand a two-tailed test. Okay, so Z 0.05 divided by 2. So there's a typo here, should be divided by 2, or Z 0.025. If you look from the normal distribution table, we found that the value is plus minus 1.96. So here will be the value of 1.96 on the right side. On the left side is a negative sign, which is minus 1.96. And the middle here is 0. So plus 1.96 and minus 1.96, we call it as the critical values. So critical values are the values that we get from the statistical table. And the blue area here is the rejection region. So there's one rejection region on the right and one rejection region on the left for two-tailed test. And in the middle part, this is the region of non-rejection. So if the test statistic, the one that we calculate, the Z star or T star is located in this blue area, then the decision will be to reject H null. So in step 5, we need to make the statistical decision. So if the test statistic, the T star or Z star falls in the rejection region, we say that H null is rejected or reject H null. But if the test statistic falls in the non-rejection region, we say that fail to reject H null or do not reject H null. So we never say we accept H null, because failure to reject H null does not constitute proof that it is true, but rather than we are unable to reject it at the significance level being used or being chosen for the test. So the last step, state the conclusion of the test. So if H null is rejected, means that there is enough statistical evidence to support or infer that H1 is true. But if H null is not rejected, then there is not enough statistical evidence to support or infer that H1 is true.